What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Haisai Gaijin-san. And today we're going to talk about my top five tourist attractions in Okinawa for first timers. So, Okinawa, outside of its tropical weather and nice people, there's a rich contemporary history that the island can offer via these tourist attractions or just a general nice place to hang out and relax. Whether you're affiliated with the military, the US military, or you're a tourist from mainland, or you're a foreigner, right? And here are my top five places in Okinawa for first time tourists. Number one, American Village. So I know it sounds cliche, like everyone talks about American Village, especially if you're in the military. Everyone knows where American Village is, what it's about. But I think in general, it's a readily accessible place that's well known, that kind of eases people into, especially Westerners, it kind of eases them into, I guess, Japanese or Okinawan culture. There's a bunch of cafes, restaurants, there's a movie theater, there's a mall, and everything is catered towards obviously Americans or Westerners in general. So it kind of helps people have a familiar place in a foreign land, especially for military members who are here for years at a time. They can kind of, I guess, reset themselves, and like if they're kind of homesick, they can kind of go to American Village and kind of have that feeling in some ways, especially during the evening and the nighttime, where the whole area comes alive with the lights and the beach. You can feel the sea breeze and everything, and people are still walking about. And sometimes you have like these musical events, like people busking, or just general like bands and stuff might be playing music. They have a bunch of events from time to time, and it's really cool. And I feel like American Village at times, especially during the nighttime, it feels like a small city, like a little piece of New York or LA. It's pretty cool in my opinion in that sense. But I would definitely recommend American Village for first time tourists here. Number two, my number two spot for first time tourists is the Churaumi Aquarium up in Nago, or Matabu, not Nago. Well, Matabu is close to Nago, but it's up in Matabu. It's way up north, way up north. It claims to have one of the biggest water tanks in the world, and Churaumi Aquarium is world famous. They have many rare animals, marine animals there, like whale sharks and manta rays. And there's a coral reef area that I'm told that you can touch the animals within the shoals of the coral reef. I went there once back in my military days, but it was so long ago. I would definitely recommend people especially people who are into marine life and stuff like that, check it out. It's a really good place to visit. However, I will say, especially for those in the military, because most of military people live central Okinawa, it might be a trek, especially if you don't have a car. So it might take some planning, but it's a place worth checking out. So my number three pick is Shuri Castle. So Shuri Castle is another amazing piece of history that I think every visitor to Okinawa should visit for sure. Shuri Castle was originally built in the 14th century during the Sanzan period of the Ryukyu Kingdom. So for those of you who don't know, the Ryukyu Kingdom was what Okinawa was called before it was annexed by Japan. Over the years, there's been two times where it's been kind of destroyed partially. One way back when, I don't remember. I'll post that date in this video. But another time was back recently, I believe in 2019, that a fire happened in the castle, unfortunately, and burnt it down. It's either 2019 or 2016, but I'll also, in my edit, I'll put the date where the fire happened in the castle, and it destroyed a lot of it, and it took a couple years for it to be rebuilt. But fortunately, Shuri Castle is rebuilt. So if you guys come out to Okinawa for the first time, or just a recurring visit, and you haven't checked it out yet, you should definitely check it out. Because when I went back in 2013, when I first came on island, it was amazing. The courtyard, you can really see the Chinese influences, because just to give you a piece of history, a history lesson, if you will, uh, Ryukyu Kingdom was more closely tied to China back in the day, It was more of a vassal state to China. It was a big, like Okinawa or Ryukyu Kingdom at the time, was a big trading port between, Japan and China back in the day, especially, and it was really close to China. So you could see in the architect of Shuri Castle where a lot of things are heavily Chinese influenced. I think the best part of the whole tour was the throne room. Everything was like gold laden, and it was just amazing. It was something that I've never seen before. I've never been to any type of castle or courtyard or anything like that, but to have the opportunity to see that, it was awesome. It was great. And again, it's rebuilt back from the fire that happened a couple years back. So if you have the chance, you should definitely, definitely, definitely check it out. So my number 4 pick for tourist attractions that people should visit first time coming to Okinawa is Kokusai Dori, or International Street as it means in English. So my number 4 pick is Kokusai Dori, or International Street, what Kokusai Dori translates to. It's also colloquially known as Kokusai Street. It's in the capital city, Naha, and it's pretty much just a strip of road where it has a bunch of shops, clothing stores, food stores, street vendors, and just general points of interest, and bars as well. Lots of bars. And there were a couple clubs there too, that, a lot of foreigners gravitate to, right? It's almost like a more touristy Fifth Avenue in New York. And it's amazing. It was just like, again, back when I just came on island with me and a couple friends, we took a taxi down there and then we just walked the street during the daytime, and it was just cool being able to see everything and interact with the locals at that time and all that stuff. It was a really nice experience. And granted, I haven't been there in a couple years, almost 8 years. I haven't been back there, but I think one of these days I'll do a vlog video of my revisiting Kokusai Dori. And there's also Western restaurants or Western cafes that you can also try out as well on Kokusai Dori. So it has a little bit of everything for everyone. And now my last and final pick for first time visitors to Okinawa is checking out Araha Beach, right? So Araha Beach is a very, very popular beach in Okinawa, mainly in Chitan town, where, that's a lot of the Americans are. And since central Okinawa has, I think, the most concentration of foreigners, not just US military members, but just foreigners in general, it's close by or relatively close by. It's free. It's a big area where people can jog, they can run, they can sunbathe, they can swim, they can surf. You can just enjoy the view from the East China Sea, and it's pretty cool. There's also areas where the kids can play. There's a big playground in the shape of a ship that I take my kids to sometimes. It's cheap. There's a bunch of beachside restaurants and eateries that sells drinks and snacks like the hot dogs, burgers, so small stuff like that. Yeah, those are my top 5. So yeah, those are my top 5: American Village, Churaumi Aquarium, Shuri Castle, Kokusai Dori, and Araha Beach. To me, the reason why I picked these is because they're well known, they're relatively easy to get to, maybe except for the aquarium, and they're points of interest that can give you kind of insight, whether that's from a cultural perspective or a geographical perspective of how Okinawa is, whether it's the climate, the history, the food, whatnot, and all sorts of things like that. What do you guys think? So I know a lot of people that watch this channel may be already familiar with Okinawa. They might know places that are more accessible, places that are relatively cheaper, or just in general may be more interesting than the 5 places that I talked about. So if you know any, don't feel free to put them in the comment section below so you can share with everyone who may be interested in coming to Okinawa and visiting as a tourist. And with that being said, guys, that's all I have for today. Remember to stay blessed and stay tuned. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.